Hello, hello, good afternoon, and welcome everybody to the second episode of the Miller Sports Podcast, affiliated with the company I work for, Burn City Sports. I'm your host, Franklin Miller, and today, for the second episode of my podcast, we will be talking about some breaking news that came out in Phoenix today with the Suns and Mercury getting their new owner, Matt Ishbia, and what this means for the future of both organizations. The Suns being on a 3-game win streak will be another topic I talk about today, and Devin Booker's phenomenal 58-point performance that happened over this past weekend. But moving forward, let's just get right to it with the breaking news of Matt Ishbia becoming the new owner of the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury. Matt Ishbia is a businessman, the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage. To be honest, I didn't really know a whole lot about Matt before the season began. And quite frankly, there's like a lot of suitors that were coming up for the Suns to begin the season after the whole Robert Sarver situation happened. I mean, you had stuff like Disney popping up, like Jeff Bezos potentially being um, available. And to be honest, I wasn't really kind of buying into it that much. It was kind of a lost cause in a sense, trying to see if those guys were going to come available. So I didn't really buy into it, but it was fun to look at for a brief second. But my man Jacob Harden on Burn City Sports kind of broke out the news earlier this morning about it, which was hectic in itself, trying to get all that out. But um, he a lot of things to like about Matt Ishbia is that he purchased both the Suns and Mercury, like I said, and it reportedly went for $4 billion, which is a record. Not a lot of NBA sites, let alone sports sites, will go up for that much. And that just goes to show you how big the game of basketball is becoming from an entertainment perspective for the viewers at home, and why it's one of the most watched television sports in the world. His company, going back to Matt Ishbia, is founded in Michigan. That's where he's from, and became the largest base mortgage lender in 2015 after he became CEO in 2012 for his company, United Wholesale Mortgage. He's also reportedly bringing his brother Justin Ishbia as a significant, investor for the sale. But I'm going to explain why this might be the right guy for the job. So he's a former Michigan State basketball player. He was a walk on. He actually ended up winning four national. He actually ended up playing in three straight Final Fours and winning a national title in back in 2000 with Coach Tom Izzo. He didn't really get a lot of playing time and only started in one game, which was senior night against Iowa, and he played for roughly like a solid 8 minutes in the game. But what was the like about him a lot coming from Michigan State was how he was just such a hard worker, his dedication to his craft. He earned his spot on the team. Like I said, he was a walk on. But Tom Izzo really liked the passion, liked his drive for the game, and that's how he ended up with the walk on position. He understands the game of basketball and what it takes to win. I think that's one of the biggest causes of reason to be excited if you're a Suns fan and Mercury fan is he's been in that locker room before. He's a former basketball player that understands the will to win. And I think as a competitor like that, especially in the business side of things, that's a really great trait to have. I mean, you can look at even across like the league with the Joe Lacobs of the world, even though he doesn't have like a background in basketball, but just the competitive drive he has is one of the reasons why the Warriors are the way that they are. You can go back to the San Francisco 49ers of old with Eddie DeBartolo. He was as competitive as he did everything it took to win. And so just having an owner like that can bode well for the Suns that are actually been turning things around over the last few years. And they're just missing out that one glimpse of trying to win a championship. So I think this could be a significant improvement of that moving forward. Some good things about him that he's done well is he's helped donate $32 million to Michigan State University, with $20 million of it going toward a new football building. He was one of the lead people that actually helped out Michigan State football head coach now Mel Tucker land that head coaching or actually land not only land the head coaching position, but that contract extension that actually helped him make him the highest one of the highest paid player one of the highest paid coaches, excuse me, in the sport at $9.5 million a year, and that's tied with for fourth in college football with Brian Kelly of LSU and Ryan Day of Ohio State, both really big names in the sport. With Ryan Day about to be coaching Ohio State against Georgia in the college football playoff. And another thing too is that he also helped name his former Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo out by requesting the program to help change the Michigan State basketball court after Tom Izzo. So a lot of the donations he did was toward the athletic department and the athletic program, which helped market Michigan State a ton, even though they were already a big school, but helped market them even a ton more to help get the proper funding for the athletic department that they needed. His net worth is near $5.1 billion. He helped skyrocket Dan Gilbert's Detroit-based Rocket Mortgage to mortgage lending and it became one of the most biggest lenders in the nation by volume. And this allowed for the company from Michigan to help rise out to become one of the highest paid that it is, like I said earlier, back in 2015. So one of the things to end it off with, Matt Ishbia is that he understands hard work. He understands winning. He understands his competitive drive. And the biggest thing is he understands humility. The humility that he takes to give back to the programs that helped him along the way, to the people that helped him along the way, can only bode well, moving forward during his time in Phoenix. And it's a big and a huge culture change in Phoenix that I think is really important for where it was in the past with Robert Sarver. And one of the key things that you can allude to is with Jason Richardson, an ex-teammate of his in Michigan State and a former Suns player, where he even tweeted out saying, "Congrats to my guy and college teammate Ish. It's time to bring a ship to the Valley." And no kidding, it is time to bring a ship back to the Valley, as they were close 2 years ago, and then they had that. We don't even want to talk about Dallas, that Dallas series last year, but this could be a trend in the right direction in a bright spot in the Valley to move forward for the Phoenix Suns. I think that only good things are going to come out of this. Now, obviously, there could be bad things that come out of this, but I believe that there's going to be good things that come out of this, especially with the background that he's provided. Obviously, it's not a big name billionaire owner that's coming to the fray that everybody would have thought, which is what I personally thought was going to happen. I thought that it was going to be a person that not a lot of people know about, and I believe that the Suns and Mercury may have hit the jackpot with this purchase, and I think it's going to go well moving forward. So kicking things off to move towards the Suns actually is I want to just talk about their 3-game win streak now that with their new owner, and welcome Matt Ishbia again. This is the Miller Sports Podcast. I just want to allude to the Suns' 3-game win streak after going on a rut, which was a 5-game losing streak last week. And I think one of the key things, man, was their huge win against the Lakers. And don't get me wrong, it was a big injury-riddled game. No Russell Westbrook, no LeBron James, no Anthony Davis, no Austin Reeves for the Lakers. And for the Suns, there was no Devin Booker. There's no Cameron Payne. There's no Cameron Johnson, who's still suffering with that right torn meniscus. There was no Jock Landale, who had a concussion injury in the previous game against the Pelicans. So there are without a lot of people, and no Dwayne Washington Jr. So they were tight with depth wise at center, and they're tight depth wise at the guard spot. And there was no problem for the Suns as they ended up winning the game 130-104. And Chris Paul was phenomenal. Let's call what it is, man. It's like, well, this is why he's a future Hall of Famer. This is why they pay him the big bucks for games like this, to come out on top when your best player is out. And Chris Paul dropped 28 points on 50% shooting and 60% from three. He was 3 of 5 from three, and 8 of 19 from the floor, 8 assists, and to go along with 2 steals. This is the 2 of the last 3 games now where he's had at least 2 steals or more. And I think he's just been playing phenomenal basketball as of late. I think he's been shooting well. His catch and shoot game has come out on top. I'll never forget the last episode where I alluded to his unassisted points being made. I think with him being more of a catch and shoot three and like not hesitating as much when it comes to score, which comes to being aggressive with scoring the basketball, I think it goes well for the Suns. And don't get me wrong, I know that Devin Booker didn't play, so maybe alluded to him, maybe having them take a little bit more shots than he usually does. But I think it bodes well for the Suns' future of the season if Chris Paul is being as aggressive as he was last night. And I think another key thing was that they had DeAndre Ayton back. DeAndre Ayton came back from a left ankle injury they suffered against the Houston Rockets last week, and he looked like DeAndre Ayton, dropping 21 points, 11 rebounds. He was 9 of 11 shooting. It was a light work day for him. I think the them being without Anthony Davis was kind of a hit towards for the Lakers. Thomas Bryant had a good game, dropping 17 points, but he was no match for DeAndre Ayton in this game. Mikal Bridges also had a good game with 20 points. He had a steal and a block, continuously showing why he's one of the best defenders in this league. Thought he did a good job guarding the perimeter for the most part of this game. As guards, outside of Dennis Schroeder, it was hard for guards to score the ball all night long. And so we had 3 Suns players with 20 plus points. And then not to add on the other 2 starters that played yesterday, Torrey Craig and Damian Lee. Torrey Craig dropped 17 points. I thought he was one of the best players in last night's game. 6 of 7 shooting, 4 of 4 from 3. It was just one of those nights where the Suns were just red hot from 3. Damian Lee adding 5 threes, scoring 15 points, shot 50% from downtown. All Suns players scored at least 15 or more points in this game, like the starters. That's not to even add on with Landry Shamet having 13 points off the bench. And I think this was the first time since 2010 when Steve Nash and Jason Richardson, those guys, and Hedo Turkoglu, where they had at least 15 or more points. And back in 2010, that's when the Suns were contending for playoffs and year in, year out. And this is like third time this year where the Suns have had a stat where they had the most, where if they tied a record or did something that was similar to that 2010 team, like against the Clippers, where Josh Okogie and Jock Landale had a double-double. That's the first time 2 duos off the bench had a double-double for the first time since 2010. So the Suns team is heading in the right direction with 3 in a row as they look ahead to play the Wizards tonight. I'll do a breakdown of that for the next episode to save a little bit of time. But even besides the injuries, I thought the Suns shot the ball really, really well. And I think if they can, once they get Devin Booker back, Cam Johnson back, Cameron Payne back, then get all these guys back, if they can just show this consistency night in and night out, there's gonna be games where you don't shoot the ball well, but if they can just show this consistency night in and night out, it can just bode well for them. They're already a top 10 3-point percentage shooting team, and they're a top 10 scoring team in this league, along with the top 10 defensive rating team. If they can just continue to just improve against the free throw line, continuing to show up early in the game scoring and not wait till the third quarter to start get it going, especially against these playoff caliber teams like Boston, Dallas, Golden State. I think it could bode well for the Suns moving forward, and I think they can make some noise in this Western Conference and hopefully make a return back to the finals. But a lot of work needs to still be done. And speaking of which, I wanted to just, do a quick shout out. I didn't allude to this over this weekend, but I just wanted to quickly say, man, what a game from Devin Booker against the Pelicans. A huge win nonetheless, but a great game. I thought his best game of his career. I'll go that far. It's better than the 70-point game. 58 points on 60% shooting, 6 made threes, which is a career high. 24 unanswered points in the third quarter. This man really put the team on his back. They were down 83-59 at one point, and it was 89-84 at the end of the third quarter. It was 83-59 in the beginning of the third, and it ended up becoming 89-84 going into the fourth quarter. He played the whole second half, which probably was a reason why he was out with the groin injury, playing a little bit too much minutes, especially after injury and having a left hamstring strain, left hamstring tightness injury. But Devin Booker was phenomenal, man. It's one of the many reasons why he's in the running for best shooting guard in the league. Why, in my opinion, he's an MVP candidate. I wouldn't say he's the leading runner. I wouldn't even say he's top 3, but he's definitely in that conversation with what he does for this team. Night in and night out, his defense has just been phenomenal over this course of this season. He's been doing a great job with that. And it's one of the many reasons why he is who he is and why he's going to probably go down as the best player in this franchise's history. And yes, I'm going to say it over Steve Nash, over Tom Chambers, over all these guys, man. I think he's heading in that direction, becoming the 6th youngest player to get to 12,000 career points, from being the 3rd player since 2000 to have the most 50-point games in their young career. Being there with the likes of LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. It's one of the many reasons why it's perfect timing at a guy that shooting slump, but also perfect timing with the All-Star voting being here for fans. It's time to hype up the best player on the team, man, and to get those fan votings going, because he's averaging 28 points per game this year, 5.8 points, 4.8 rebounds per game on 47.7% shooting and 37% from 3, which is second best in a season in his career. So kudos to Devin Booker for such a tough, or not just a tough situation to come back from, but just a great night, just shooting the basketball and just getting out of that slump. That's just one way of doing it. And his legacy is just continuing. Kobe wrote on his sneakers, man, be legendary, and I know he's taking that to the core with him every night. He's going to continue to make Kobe proud. He's going to continue to make his family proud. He's going to continue to make the city of Phoenix proud, man, because he's that type of player, and it's a blessing to have him on this team, and a guy like him you can win a championship with. There's no doubt about that. But the Suns got a lot of work to do, as they're going to continue to play this week at home. And their next home game is tonight against the Washington Wizards. And let's see if they can get a win tonight. Hopefully Devin Booker can come back tonight, who's questionable, with a groin injury. But let's see if it's feeling better tonight and he can get back on the court, and let's see if the Suns can make it 4 in a row. But that will do it for the second episode of the Miller Sports Podcast. Tune in on Thursday. That's going to be my next episode, where we'll be talking about the recap of this Wizards and Suns game, and let's see whatever sites that come out from that game tonight. But until then, I'll do it for the second episode. I'm your host, Franklin Miller, signing off. Have a great day.